Welcome back to Summer Arts 2022, live from the Humboldt-Mendocino County line down on the County Line Ranch. We are here today with Kim Kemp, somebody who's a very special person in our community, sharing the stories of our people, sharing the stories of the experiences of the community. We all depend on the Red-Headed Black Belt for the inside scoop on what's going on in our community, and it's a huge asset, so I'm really stoked to sit down and chat with you. Thanks for joining us, Kim.
Well, thank you. I'm of course nervous being in front of everyone, but it's great to be here, and the fair is lovely. What a perfect weather.
Isn't it so incredible? Like coming down, we were looking at the weather, we're like, it's barely gonna break 70 degrees. It's gonna be like the perfect day.
It's perfect, not too hot, and looking at these trees are amazing. I love being under these old trees.
It's pretty nice, yeah. Different location than it's been for the last 44 years.
I know, I'm kind of a little, like, I love tradition, but I kind of like this.
It's a really sweet spot. It's definitely something that should be used in the community. I know the river spot, granted we probably won't use it this weekend just because it is going to barely break 70. But yeah, the river spot, the tree groves, the shade factor on normal years where it's deep into the 90s and it's a struggle midway through the day.
Everybody's like sweating.
Yeah. So in a normal year, obviously, I think this place is just going to be fantastic if they decide to keep it going in the future.
So I've got a question for you. You've been Soham resident for a very long time. You've been coming to the Summer Arts. What is it like to you that we have a cannabis village, legal cannabis sales, people can come in and interact with their farmers here at such a integral craft fair to our community?
It's this is the way it should be. This is cannabis I thought the Summer Arts Fair smelled like cannabis my whole life, right? Because everybody's hiding behind their booths, toking, right? And I just thought that that's the way the Summer Arts Fair should smell. But now it's out in the open. You see people walking around. You can go over and see what they have to offer. You could I like the smell of this one. No, I like the smell of that one better. That's just such an amazing thing for people to be able to compare and get excited about. And learn the different stories. I mean, like Humboldt Alchemy is a different kind of product than our little Red-Headed Black Belt product is. It's a different thing, and you get to listen to the stories, hear how their story is, hear our story, and find what you identify with, and that's an amazing thing.
It really is. I love the opportunity for us to even be here walking around and meeting growers that have been in the community alongside of us for all of our time, and still just hearing new stories and meeting new people we might have seen around Summer Arts for the last 30 years, but actually getting to hear their passionate voice about the plant and about the community and the differences in their growing styles and from valley to valley with their neighbors, and it's just it's a beautiful treat.
I was over talking to Plant Humboldt, Michael Jacobal from Plant Humboldt. He's over there with his gorgeous plants, and I'm just like, these things are so beautiful. How wonderful that he can come here and show the farmers. He's a nursery, right? He can show the farmers, this is something you can just purchase, and you can touch the soil and smell the soil. You can be over there and you can see, like here, this is a bear skull that we found on our land. These are who we are, right? This is each place you get a chance to see and meet people. It's an amazing experience.
I completely agree, and we always say this, that Humboldt is such a place that is true to place. The people are true to the place.
Authentic, yes.
Yeah, and it's really nice to communicate. Yeah, it is, and I'm really glad that you mentioned the Red-Headed Black Belt canna line. So you guys are now coming to market with your flower, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think we may be the first news organization with their own cannabis line.
So cool.
That's so humble, right?
Yes.
It's so humbled. I love it.
But we've always grown. I mean, I was raised in the religious conservative side of Humboldt County, but I married into the old grower family. So my son is a third generation grower. And I can remember when my husband brought me into growing marijuana, I was like, all I knew about growing marijuana was like Scarface, the movie, you know? Yeah. So I pictured, pretty soon I'd be snorting coke off hookers' bodies, I was like crying. I was like, I'm not sure. I love my guy, but I don't know if this is for me. And then, of course, I discovered it's not like that. I mean, these, like we make cookies and homemade bread, and we lived with kerosene light for years, I mean, we're the old school homesteaders.
Yeah.
And that's an experience.
It is, and I think that's why so many people come to you for the news and for information, because it's coming from a peer, somebody who's viewing it from a similar lens to this community, and it's really hard to interpret the news of the day when it's coming from someone else's lens, a lens that you don't identify with it. So that's, for me, been something that really has always struck me about when I go to your website. I read the way you moderate the comments, and it's insightful and balanced and open to perspective, and that's something that really spoke to me. And
do you think that's how Humboldt is?
It is.
I think Humboldt is very open to, and we have such a variety of people with a variety of perspectives here, and I love that about us. I think that's wonderful that we do that. I mean, and especially funny because at the same time we're the country people who are kind of like, well, how long have you lived here?
I remember when I finally crossed my 20-year mark. I felt like I could finally be like, I've been here more than half of my life. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah, I tell my husband, he came here at 9. I'm like, I don't know. You're just an interloper.
yeah, right?
Flatlander.
Yeah.
I thought after 10 years, I'm like, yeah, I'm a local. People are like, don't even ever say that. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're
Were
right.
you born in Garberville Hospital? Well then,
No. But I got here as fast as I could.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So tell us what you expect from today. Like, we're going to see community, we're going to hear music. Like, what do you expect our community to take away from today's event?
I hope they normalize cannabis. I'm really tired of people thinking that cannabis is done by criminals. And instead, the people I know are people that you would meet anywhere. I mean, like, I know old ladies in pink fluffy sweaters who grow cannabis. I know hip young guys who grow cannabis. I know country dudes who grow cannabis. I know urban dudes who grow cannabis. It's not, I want people to just realize you can find your niche, your kind of cannabis that appeals to you. Are you like really into, like the different flavors? Like, do you want to have a lot of variety? Well, who do you go to for that? Or do you like somebody who specializes and just gets that thing just perfect? Like you have a chance to find it, normalize it, and make it part of your lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that, the normalization and connection with your farmer. Like you said, being able to like come over and be like, oh, this is the strain you grew this year? Oh, wow. I can taste your hillside and your intention in it. And we were just talking to the folks at Humboldt Alchemy, and same thing. They were saying, we're just up the street from hog farms, but yet we have such different results based on our climates and our
Even the same
intentions.
strain, yes, it can be totally different.
Yeah, as this gives you that opportunity to tap in. And one thing that's a little unique about this Cannabis Village, which I love, by the way, is that we're 21 and over, we're fenced off, we've got this, kind of black out, and I like it in some ways, but I feel like we're kind of still cornered.
I wish that it upsets me a little bit that why do we can't show cannabis sales? Why? You can smoke it in public, but you can't show people buying it? Like, that's a weird dichotomy that I am not quite...
And you think it would be the opposite as far as just the transparency. Like, what are we hiding for? We're not hiding anymore, I thought, right? So everything out in the open. What's with the blackout fencing behind us?
It's the law there,
It's
apparently, but
slowly-
it's a strange law.
It's constantly just slowly, there's the little tiny baby steps, and it's gotten to where we are now. Obviously, it's a huge difference, and I think that the village, just the way that this is set up, this is a great example of this is how the state should operate, right? Where the farmers and the consumers just have a stronger relationship. Distro and that whole thing, it's not the strongest model for what cannabis is. When you can't smell what you're about to buy, you can't talk to the farmer and understand how it was grown and where it was grown. And
it really should be the farmer's market model, I think, in a lot of ways. I mean, there's obviously going to be like, you just go to the grocery store and buy some eggs, okay. But the best eggs you buy are the ones you go to the farmer's market and the farmer says, oh, I've got some Gosh, I don't know any chicken names. My son raises chickens, but I do not raise chickens. But I've got some of these kind of chickens, and they do these kind of eggs, and I got some of these. And then you crack it open, and that yolk is so dark yellow.
Right.
That's what you want when you go. You want to be able to have that experience at the farmers market. Then you also want to be able to just run down to your grocery store and grab some eggs when you need it.
Sure, absolutely. There's always going to be a clientele for both.
Yes.
And a time for both, no matter who the clientele is. But yeah, this is the model, I think, sharing that there is a beautiful connection that is lost at the way that it's being distributed and sold now.
I mean, I love that, anyone who comes to our booth can see that we make homemade bread. We make homemade chocolate chip cookies from my great Aunt Jessie's recipe from the 1920s.
Wow.
I mean, they can see that about us. They can see the flowers that hang in my yard, that hang off of my roof. They can see who we are as individuals. And then they can go to Humboldt Alchemy and talk to Humboldt Alchemy. They can go to, I just met this lovely man who makes these pipes, cannabis pipes for smoking that have all these different tools in them. Like it has a little pick for you doing it, and has a little roach part on it. I'm like, I would never have known that if I wasn't able to be here and meeting. And he was lovely. He's in his 70s, and he said he's been making them since he was a kid.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of pipes.
That's exactly what he called it, the Swiss Army knife of pipes.
That's great. I love it.
Well, and that gets back to that farmers market atmosphere, and I think that that's something that we need to get the power back into the farmers' hands through that, because right now corporate cannabis can tell the story more effectively than the mom and pops because we don't have that direct outreach. And it's so important to preserve those legacies right now. So I completely agree that that's the way that we can connect to the community and build together.
I think they need to understand that we want people to come meet us. You're going to find people that you're just going to fall in love with, and you're going to find their product that you're going to fall in love with. And that's going to be the way that we translate Humboldt to the rest of the world.
Wow, I couldn't surmise it or sum it up any better. That's incredible. And thanks for coming and sitting with us today, because this is, like you said, this is an opportunity to fall in love with our friends in our community, and being such a fan for so long, I'm super, super thankful. This was just incredible.
Same here.
Well, thanks. It's nice to be with you guys.
Really a pleasure, Kim. I can't wait to come over and check out some of the flower.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, for those of you on the interwebs, check out Redheaded Black Belt for all your Humboldt County Emerald Triangle news online.